The following show is a paid program.
Hey family, thank you so much for joining me on today. I am so excited. I have one of the best, Kim Davis. I'm telling you, she's producer, host, journalist, communication strategist, and a friend of mine. She hosts her own show called Chalk Talk. And she said it's more than a sports show. They talk about real life stuff. They talk about social justice, equity and inclusion movements, and many other things. I love this lady, I'm telling you. She says, I'm always encouraging people to share their stories for several very good reasons, but I rarely share mine for no other reason than, well, I just don't. But times are changing. Kim Davis. Hey, lady.
Hey there, how are you, Kim? Thanks for having me on your show.
I am so excited because, to be honest, and I'm going to tell you this in front of the world, the way you do your show, I've learned, you've taught me over the year.
Awesome.
Over the years, just as you're being a producer, as you just hosting shows and just being a real journalist. We were talking about that yesterday. Let's jump into that about the journalism and how it's changed.
Well, one of the ways it's changed is that journalism is not as much of a focus anymore.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that there are no journalists, but it's become very much, hey, look at me, I'm on TV. And the craft of storytelling, the craft of getting the information, drilling down, doing the research, it's just not as valued as it used to be. And so it's kind of gone by the wayside a lot. So we still have to have those of us who've been around for a minute still doing the work because it's necessary.
I love that. 25 years plus. How did you start?
So I started when I was 12, if we're doing the math.
I love it.
Yeah, so I actually did my very first internship when I was still in college. I went to Texas A&M, and I took an entire semester off and did an internship at Channel 11, KHOU TV here in Houston. And then I worked at a TV station and college station before school, after school.
Yeah.
And when I graduated, I actually first started writing for newspapers because it was difficult to jump into the arena of sports and television. There weren't many people who looked like me, right? That did sports. And there still aren't. We see them on a national level, but locally there are none. Like in the city of Houston, there are no other Black women that are doing sports.
Right.
And so I went to print because I thought that'd make me credible as a journalist. So I wrote for Black newspapers. I wrote for the wire services. I wrote for the Houston Post, which is no longer around.
Right.
And then I started doing some talk radio, and I started doing work at BET back when BET did real news and sports. So I would fly to DC and do a show there. I did specials with them, and I got a chance to work with some of the best in the business, the Mike Wilbons and the Bill Rodens and all those guys from the East Coast, and really kind of launched my career and have grown since then.
I love that. So many people that are either at home or young people that are, going to college and they're doing things virtually, they have the dream to do exactly the way you did it or what you're doing. In doing so, just talking to them about that dream and just the path is getting a little harder, so many have told me, because of our skin color. Have you seen that so many times?
Yeah, it is, because the people who are making the decision don't always look like me. And because I worked in sports most of my career, the people who the sports directors were mostly white men, and they were
Yes.
not always excited to see me coming.
Mm-hmm.
I got an anchor job in New Orleans. It was the first woman anchor, sports anchor in that market,
Right.
and the news director and general manager hired me, but the sports director, I was not his choice, and I got to know that the entire time I was there. And because I was just not what he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't me personally. He didn't know Kim Davis. It wasn't my work, because my work has always been solid.
Yeah.
But that's just been the reality of it. So it's always about being really, really prepared, being able to do everything that it takes
Mm-hmm.
to get your product from conception to air, so
Yes.
that if something happens, you're able to step in and still get it done.
I love that part about you. You have not stopped since. You've kept going. Chalk Talk, I love it. You go not only for sports, and I think so many people only thought it was sports, but you have gone from sports to social injustice, from just news like itself. Just recently on Today, I mean, yours is before mine. It starts, I believe, what, 11 o'clock or so?
Yeah, it starts
Hmm.
at 11. Yeah. And so Chalk Talk, I say it's more than sports because it is, but I
Yes,
think sports is really a microcosm of society.
yes.
So that is why it leads. So while
Hmm.
I'm great at talking about X's and O's and breaking down film and doing all of that, but I think as we have seen over the past several months, how actually the past several years, the
Hmm.
intersection of sports and culture and society, the intersection
Right.
of sports and race, and so to use that as a platform to talk about these very important issues, it excites me. And I just think it's necessary. It's a great way to keep conversations going, start conversations, and highlight issues that should be highlighted.
Absolutely. And on Today, you were talking about what Jacob Blake, the young man that got shot by the police officer. And I love the fact that one of the sports players was speaking about the way you feel as an African American male when you're out
Right,
there, because they don't care and they really don't know you. Okay. Yeah, you're on the court and
right,
they know you're on the court, but you're still a black
right.
male when you're in the car.
Right. And so Kenny Stills is the sound I played on my show today was from Kenny Stills. He's a wide receiver for the Houston Texans. But
Hmm.
Kenny Stills has been in this fight for a long time for
Yes.
social justice against police brutality.
Hmm.
He was arrested earlier this summer in Kentucky for peacefully protesting
Yes.
on the lawn of the house of the Attorney General of Kentucky. He's been fighting very hard about the Breonna Taylor case.
Hmm.
The shirt he had on yesterday in his post practice interviews talked about Breonna Taylor. That's who he is.
Hmm.
So, my colleagues will ask him questions, will ask the I guess the obligatory questions about, something else happened, and not only want to say now what, because it's not that white people can't feel what we feel, but it's
Right.
different. So I asked
Yes.
him, I said, so like for me, it's frustrating and angry, I'm sad, I'm overwhelmed, you're afraid. What about you? What
Yeah.
is it that you feel? And he said, I have all these emotions. I was in tears. I didn't want to come to work today. And
Yes.
so he talked about what he feels and how it could be him. And he talked about the work he's doing. So I wanted to really highlight Kenny Stills, because these players that are doing the work, it's their life. They live it. It's not
Yes.
just a fad and something to do because it's popular. And I think it's important that we listen and that we support them as they are trying to support all of us.
Absolutely. And it just made it very clear that what I loved about what he was talking about, it made us understand that while he's out there playing, we see him,
Mm-hmm.
we're fans, we know him. But in the
Right,
real world, it shifts. He's like us.
right. He's
And
like us.
they'll treat him just the same like all of us, that you leave it out there, but he's no different. He can be put on the ground. He can
Absolutely.
have his knee on, someone put the knee on the neck, and they could care less, you know? And it's just very scary,
Yeah.
very frightening for everyone, all of us.
It is the times that we live in,
Yes.
and it is, so when somebody says just shut up and dribble or just shut up and run up and down the field,
Hmm.
I play those interviews and say absolutely not,
Yeah,
right? Because there's so much more to these guys.
absolutely. I agree with that. Voting is a big thing that's on the horizon right now. Now that we have Biden and the Harris ticket,
Right.
we're in a situation, we've been in this for a while, 4 years, and now we've got to start doing something different, making a change. We've got to get out and vote, and I know you're strong on that.
Yeah, I talk about voting throughout the entire year.
Yes.
I encourage people to get registered. Like
Yes.
I've been encouraging to be registered all year.
Yes.
Don't wait to that 30 days beforehand, but get registered.
Yes.
And then once you're registered, get 10 other people to register too. Right? Because we need to take people with us to the polls. And then I need you to get informed and educated, not just about the top of the ticket. You're going to hear a lot about that, right?
Yes.
That shouldn't be a hard choice. But know who's running in your city, in your county, know who's your commissioner, know who's going to be running for school board. All of those positions matter.
Yes.
And so I think it's important to be informed about it so that you can make informed choices. And here's the other thing. There's always a lot of judges. Take the time and start familiarizing yourself with those judges because they have a lot of power in our communities. When we start talking about who's indicted and what officers are held accountable, it starts in the criminal justice system and it starts with those judges. So make sure you're informed, be a smart voter, but definitely vote.
I love what you said about judges. Many people do not know that judges are elected. They think they're appointed. And they're not. They're elected.
Well, federal judges are appointed, but the rest of them are elected.
Yes.
Most of the judges in our state courts and in our local criminal courts, those judges are, they are elected. And listen, I've been guilty of back in the day of going in the voters booth and so many judges and saying, okay, that name sounds good. I mean, really, let's be honest, who hasn't done that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't anymore. I plan ahead and I go through and at least read something about these judges so that I can make sure that people that I cast my vote for share the same values from what I can tell as I do about my family and my community. I'm voting for my family and my community, and that's how we should vote.
Absolutely. I love the fact about you really stress that October the 5th is the last day for us to register to vote at this point. October the 13th is early voting. So we've got to do it early. That's the start of early voting. We stand in line for everything else, but we need to stand in line to vote.
We need to stand in line to vote. Vote early.
Yes.
If you have, like my mother's 89 and she votes by absentee, and then she got her ballot for the recent primary here in Texas.
Right.
She got it really late and was a little concerned. We took the ballot and dropped it off at the polling place. That is what you can do if you're worried about your ballot making it through the mail. So we'll do that this time. She goes, as soon as my ballot comes, I'm going to fill it out. I said, and then I'll drop it off at the courthouse for you.
And we have to do that. I'm glad you said it.
We have to do that. There's ways around it. We cannot let the shenanigans, the voter suppression that we know that is coming. We cannot let that sidetrack us. We have got to make sure that we vote and that our votes are counted.
Absolutely. Recently, they've actually locked some of the actual, postal boxes that people walk to.
Yeah, they've removed them. They've been removing the postal boxes. They've taken apart and dismantled about 600 of the mail sorters.
Yes.
And so that's a problem because not only for voting, right? Voting is obviously really important.
Right.
But senior citizens get much of their medicine by mail. Veterans get their medicine by mail. Some people still get their checks by mail.
Right.
Small businesses. I have a small business that does business by mail.
Yes.
And so the Postal Service is a service.
Yes.
It is not supposed to be profitable. It's just like the military, the Army, the Navy. Those are not profitable institutions. They serve. And that's what the post office is. It's a service.
I love that. I love what you said about that. We also talk about census. Census is kind of gone under the rug. Now they took it from October the 30th, the last day, to September the 30th now is the last day.
So whenever they don't want us to be counted, it means that it matters, right?
Yes.
If our votes didn't matter, they wouldn't work so hard for us not to vote. We have to be counted in the census. It is important. It determines resources for our areas, right? It will determine lines. We talk about gerrymandering.
Yes.
Well, the census will be in place. Those numbers will count for 10 years, a whole decade.
Yes.
So we need to be counted. Take the census for your household. It takes about 5 minutes. And it's important because it determines the kind of resources. You can say, well, yeah, Kim, they know how many of us live in this neighborhood. But that's how they get around not
Right.
allocating resources, because we are not counted.
Yes.
So make sure that you are counted, and then ask your neighbors, hey, have you filled out your census? I can help you. We must be counted in the census. Absolutely.
So many people talk about the fact that I don't want people in my business. They're already in it.
So they're already in it. I don't even know what that means, right? Like, I don't know what that means, but what I know is you should be counted, because what they want to know about you, they can find.
Yes.
But you should be counted. Make sure
Right.
that you're counted, because they'd rather you not be. That's why they shortened the time of the census
Exactly.
by a
Exactly.
whole month.
Exactly. And you don't see many of the advertisements anymore. No census advertisements, no nothing.
Nothing. It's gone silent because the federal government has pulled back a lot of the resources.
Yes.
That is when I say federal government, that is the Trump administration.
Yes.
They don't want you to be counted.
They don't.
want us to be counted.
They really
and
don't.
we need to be counted. And so it's good that you mention it. I mention it all the time because it's not prevalent. Like, we don't
Yes.
see it anyplace.
Yes, yes.
So we've got to talk about it. Absolutely.
It's 45 million African Americans that are in the United States that they have stated that are here. Okay? 13% of us are American. Only 13% of the whole United States, it says that it's African American.
Right. So I think that number's low.
That's from
And the
census.
only way we prove
That's from the
it
census.
is if we fill out the census. Right.
That's the census.
They would much rather say, oh, it's only 13% of y'all.
Exactly.
Really?
Of the whole
Okay.
United States, of 100%, we're 13%.
Right. I think and the only way we disprove that and we
Yes.
dismantle those myths is by showing up and taking and being counted. Be counted in the census.
Yes.
And be counted at the voter booth.
Absolutely. The other thing about voting, people think voting is something that has to happen. Several sitting presidents have to sign for us to vote. Many
Right.
times.
You mean the right for us to vote?
The right for us to vote.
Right. So the fact that that we have to again fight for our right to vote, it is not a guarantee, right? It has to be renewed.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happened when you talk about presidents have had to sign the Voters' Rights Act of 64. Wasn't
Right.
like forever.
Right.
So we need to have it signed, and we
Yes.
need to have it made permanent
Yes,
so that it doesn't have to continue to be renewed.
exactly. Many
And that's
people
what
don't know
people
that.
need to understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, they think it's a law, and we have the right to vote, and nothing's going to happen. No, no, no. That sitting president, when it comes up, has to sign again.
Right. And so that needs to be changed. And I believe under a new administration, we will
Yes.
see some of those changes.
Absolutely.
Which will also not even just the right to vote, it will address voter suppression
Yes.
and voter depression. All
Yes.
of that is really covered in that bill. And so it's important. So, Cam, I talk a lot about, voting and people that say, I don't like this about Kamala Harris or this about Joe Biden. And I say, just stop it. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not inviting them to dinner. She does
Right.
not have to be the godmother for your children. I need for you to think about it. You're voting not just for them, but you're voting for the Secretary of Education. You're voting for the Secretary
Yes.
of Housing. You're voting for the Attorney General,
Yes.
criminal that he is. You're voting for the head of the FDA. We're voting for all the people that come along.
Mhm.
And so we've seen what this administration will give us. We've seen it, right?
Yes.
If you're okay with that, then I guess who am I to tell you to do something different?
Right.
But if you're concerned, and here's the other thing, Cam, this administration has put in almost 300 new federal judges. Those are lifetime appointments.
Yes.
So a lot of the young people and millennials, y'all gonna be around longer than me, probably, if God says the same. It's gonna impact you and your families a lot longer than me and mine. You might want to pay attention and get these people out of office so we can start to take back some of the courts. I'm just saying.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back with Kim Davis.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. For a limited time, get $16,000 off all in-stock Cadillac 2019 XT5 crossovers and $19,000 off all in-stock 2019 CT6 sedans. Or experience the first ever 2020 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, only $519 with $1 down for 39 months lease. Or purchase and receive 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. Drive the new 2020 Cadillac XT4, only $399 a month, or the new 2020 XT5, only $429 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase the XT4 or XT5 and enjoy 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we're back with Kim Davis. Let's pick up where we left off, Kim. We were just talking about voters and what the specific type and what we need to do as voting. And also the fact we were talking, picked up on census and other things. Let's jump into masking up, putting our mask on for COVID, prevent COVID-19 and coronavirus. What do we need to talk about there? My God.
So we need to talk about the fact that the virus is raging, right?
Yes.
It is, we're almost at 180,000 people who have died from this virus in the United States. And if you think about, there were 5 other countries, European countries, Asian countries, that if you put their populations together, it's about 4.2 billion people.
Yes.
And collectively, they've had about 160,000 people that have died out of 4.2 billion. We're
right.
330 million people in this country. It is a problem, and there's no real end in sight. So what can we do? We can wear masks.
Yes.
We can practice social distancing. We can wash our hands. And listen, follow the science. It is not a hoax. It is disproportionately impacting Black and brown people.
Yes.
And so let's ride this thing out through the end of the year and hope that in January we have a new administration in who will come up with a nationwide strategy to get rid of the virus.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, we have to do what we can, and that is wear your mask.
Yes, just wear your mask. Wash your hands. I mean, these are things that we have to do, if not just for you, for your family and people that are around you.
Absolutely. Don't be selfish. Think about your neighbor. Think about your families. I'm really careful about my movings and comings and goings because my mom is 89.
Yes.
And I see her every week.
Right.
And so I don't want to expose her.
Right.
Our whole family's been tested just to be sure, but I don't want to expose her to any unnecessary harm. And so wear your mask and y'all sit down somewhere, right? Use this time to get some stuff done. Just stop it.
Doing too much. We need to pause. It seemed like the world just paused, the whole entire world was just shut down and people kept thinking it's a hoax, but people are dying.
People are dying. We needed the pause. Unfortunately, it has impacted our communities and our businesses and all of that a whole lot. I realize it. But so the people who say, well, but the economy is good. No, it's not. The stock market is good.
Yes.
But the economy is not good. People are losing their businesses. People are losing their homes. some jobs are not coming back because some of these companies are like, hey, you know what? I think I can do this virtual stuff and I don't really need all those people.
Right.
That's really happening.
Yeah.
And so there's the reckoning that's coming. And so we've got to really pay attention and find our place and continue to make stuff happen. But if we are not healthy, if we don't have our health, we don't have anything.
Absolutely. And if we don't think it's real, why is it that many people cannot go with their family members and accompany them in the room, in the hospital? I've heard so many times people have to leave when they get to the ER. They have to leave their family member there. There you go. You can't go in.
My brother didn't have COVID, but he was sick because there's still people with other illnesses.
Right.
And his was pneumonia.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't go in. And so it's difficult to get information.
Right.
And, you know, it's a scary time. And imagine if for our senior citizens and our elders who have to be there alone.
Right.
Or either young kids who have to be there alone and don't understand where's mom or dad.
Right.
So these are really serious times. Do your part.
Right.
Sit down somewhere. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Stop walking up on people.
6 feet. Look, 6 feet.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, just back up, you know? And so listen, Cam, normally I would be at a Texans training camp most days.
Right.
That's different in terms of access. I understand it. They have tiers. And so I went one day last week, but I'm not able to go every day because they're limiting people who go.
Right.
You know, I get, you know, whatever. But I do get access to the Zoom interview sessions, although that even limits the amount of people you can talk to. So everything is different.
Yes.
I imagine that Bill O'Brien likes it better this way. Not that he likes COVID, but the limited access and that some of us are not around. Let me just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're in the finals. What is it? Rockets and OKC right now? We're in the playoffs.
So we're not in the finals. They're
we're in the
playoffs.
Playoffs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. We're in the playoffs.
That's okay. It's the first round, and they are tied 2 games apiece with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
You think about it, you know, in game 1, they just kind of let that one slip away. They lost it in overtime. James Harden fouled out. It was actually, in game 3. They won the first 2. Game 3, he fouled out the first time all season.
Yeah.
Game 4 was yesterday.
Yeah.
They blew a 15-point third quarter lead.
Whoa, my God. I know.
But I think they'll be okay. So now it's the best 2 out of 3, right? Because it's the first of 4 out of 7.
Right.
So they play again tomorrow on Wednesday. They play on Friday, and if necessary, on Sunday. Russell Westbrook, of course, has been out because he's nursing an injury. I'm not sure if he's back or not on Wednesday, but they need to let him get completely healthy.
Yes.
But they got to win tomorrow. They can't lose 3 in a row to OKC. That's going to be difficult to come back from.
Absolutely. Love that. What do you feel now that it's virtual, more virtual than us going in to see it? What have you heard?
So it's different. I think the NBA has done a really good job, right? Their players are all in a bubble. They're in Orlando at Disney World in a facility, and they've done a good job of being able to control the virus and the comings and goings. And while there are no fans, they have cutouts of people. They typed in some noise, right? The noise does sound kind of like a game, but you do miss the energy of fans, I'm sure.
Right.
So it's very, very different. But I think the NBA has done a good job. Now, I will tell you, I can't imagine what football is going to be like.
Right.
Those stadiums are so much bigger.
Right.
Right. NRG Stadium is 72,000 seats. And so if there's nobody in there but the players and maybe some of us in the media, that's going to be a really different environment. So I'll see what the NFL is able to do in terms of trying to create some sort of an ambiance, you know, for that player experience. But the Kansas City team, the Texans, opened the season except on September the 10th. They have already said that they are allowing some fans in the stadium. I don't know how many yet, but they will have some fans there. So we'll see. You know, I think they're just kind of playing it by ear. And the NFL had a bunch of false positives over the weekend, something with one of the labs. They got over that.
Right.
The real test is going to be once the regular season starts and the players go back into more of a regular routine.
Right.
Training camp is a lot more controlled.
Yes.
But once the regular season starts, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And then you have so many fans that are coming. I did see, I guess that was Miami or so. They're thinking about 13,000 people or so. I guess you got to, they're still going to do the temperature and some more other things, I think, and then social distance in some type of way.
Yeah, and I think it depends on those different, like, we know Florida, their governor's nuts, right? He's sending those kids to school and all kinds of stuff. But different cities, because we don't have one universal plan for this virus.
Right.
So everybody is doing their own thing. So some places say you can only have X amount of people in a gathering.
Right.
And so the states that don't allow, more than 100 people together or whatever the number is, you're not going to be able to have a game with fans.
Right. Absolutely.
So but that's the problem. It's like a group project and nobody's doing their part because everybody's.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. The other thing too, we were talking about education with the kids. They're starting school virtually a little bit, but people are still trying to push them into the classroom.
Right. There are places where kids are going into the classrooms.
Yes.
Luckily here in this state, in the city of Houston, the kids will start virtually.
Yes.
But again, it's different everywhere. We saw in Georgia where kids went to school and they had all those positive tests.
Yes.
So we talk about what's happening with these young kids. We look at what's happening on colleges and universities. The University of Alabama, I think, has reported over 560 positive cases of COVID.
Yes.
Come on, you got 20, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that already think they're invincible.
Right.
They're having parties, they're kicking it. And so it's difficult to control that. And you've got somebody at the top saying it's not really real. So we'll listen to him instead of mom and dad because that's what teenagers do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's just a mess and it's scary and it's dangerous. It really is.
Well, the young people say it's against my rights. It's my right. I don't have to do that.
It's my right. Yeah. Well, and you know what, Cam, not even young people. There's some old fools out there saying that. I mean, I almost can go with the young people, right? Like but these grown-ups, like really, I was in a store recently and the man was outside. Dude, if you don't want to come in here, don't want to wear go someplace else.
Exactly.
Or order your stuff curbside.
Right.
Because the rest of us have on masks.
Right.
So we're not having it.
Exactly.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Absolutely. And then they're having the COVID parties.
Yeah, that's some kind of crazy that I can't even begin to relate to. That's some new kind of crazy, Cam, a COVID party. So that's like Russian roulette.
It is. People are dying at them too.
Right. And one of the young people who went to one of those parties in San Antonio told his nurse, I wish I had listened as he really suffered in the hospital. Because you don't know how your body is going to respond. Some people recover, they're fine. Some people end up having these ongoing challenges. There's a football player from a university, I can't tell you the name right now, it escapes me, who is not playing this fall because he recovered from COVID, but he has some ongoing issues now with his heart because of COVID.
Right.
So it's not just like, oh, I got better, it's over, and now I'm fine. Not necessarily. You just don't know.
I also was reading, was reading from a friend of mine and some other people that I know that you're treated many times not as a person in there. And it could be because people have those long hours. Many of the medical staff has been there forever, for a long period of time. And I'm not taking away that you should have great health care, but two sides, you know what I mean? Many people, they do FMLA or whatever, they're not going because they're trying to protect their families. But the ones that are there are stating they have long hours, some 22 hours. One young lady said 22 hours she's doing a day. It's 24 in a whole day. So she's taking other shifts.
Right. She's taking other shifts. That means that she's not getting the rest she needs.
Right.
So she's probably not in a great mood in terms of providing patient care. She's giving the best care she can give under those circumstances.
Right.
But what kind of circumstances are those to put people in? Right. And people are sometimes maybe being treated as numbers because there's so many, in some places, the numbers are just so overwhelming.
Right.
And then they have to find a way too to not be so emotionally drained by it and connected And so people, I'm sure, are managing it all in different ways, but the best ways that they
Exactly.
can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're the only real person that's there because nobody's family is there. So by
Right.
their family not being there, then they take the crust of whatever the family, that person really needs. Some people
Right.
need somebody there every day, one of the nurses was saying. And she just said, I hated to leave the lady, but I've got 19 other people on the floor.
Right. Well, and because you think about it, you're there, you're alone, you're afraid,
Yes.
you're in a hospital, you're afraid.
Yes.
There's nobody familiar to you. All you got this nurse and
Yes.
you're like, please don't leave me. Like, what's
Mm-hmm.
happening? I can't talk to anybody. That's got to be really, really scary for
Yeah.
patients right now. And so my heart goes out to them.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and putting the realization on there, some people are special needs. Some people are not
Yeah.
ambulatory, they're in wheelchairs or
Hmm.
whatever, just the differences. And all of those people need that care.
Yeah, and they need the care and they also need the compassion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Beyond the medical care. And
Yes.
and when you're in a time where you're sick and you're frightened, you really
Yes.
need that extra kind of TLC.
Right.
And in that environment, they may not always be able to provide
Right.
it because they're stretched so thin
Right.
and trying to provide it for so many people and trying to keep people alive.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is true. I agree with that. The other thing is unemployment. 40 million plus people are unemployed right now. And
And
the
so
numbers keep coming up.
when I hear people say the economy is good, I'm like, in what alternative universe are you talking about? There's no way that 40 million people can be on the unemployment roll and the economy can be good,
Right.
right? There are businesses that are closed and are not coming back.
Yes.
There's some restaurants, there's some retail stores. My sister and I
Yes.
were talking last week, like, what will retail look like after
Right.
COVID?
Right.
There are stores that are closing for good. There are
Yes.
restaurants that are closing for good. There are small businesses that are saying, we're done. We couldn't survive this. And so all of it ties to this pandemic
Yes.
and a lack of leadership.
Right.
It did not have to be this way.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Many people were dependent on, I guess, the funds that maybe were going to come out for unemployment, the funds that were supposed to be for the PPP and the EIDL. They were,
Yeah.
kind of dependent on a lot of those things. Some received them, but many did not.
Well, the problem too is there was just no equity in that distribution.
Right.
When you hear that Kodak got $750 million,
Right.
or that Jared Kushner's companies got $6 million,
Right.
or that, name a company that's connected to the Trump administration
Right.
that have gotten all this money,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kanye West got $2 million for his Yeezy brand or whatever the thing
Right.
that is. I mean, it's insane. So there was money there, but because of this administration not wanting the oversight, and so the Democrats were kind of forced, but we got to do something for the people.
Right.
So we are going to do the best we can with oversight, but we can't not do anything because then the people lose.
Right.
And the other side is like, yeah, well, we really don't want all them oversight, all those questions. We're not signing off on it. And so now they're back at the table. They've been back at the table since May.
Right.
And Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate, has said, I'm not going to bring this bill to the table. It's not going to happen.
Right.
That's a problem.
Absolutely.
If you live in Kentucky.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with Kim Davis.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. Drive the new 2020 Cadillac XT4, only $399 a month, or the new 2020 XT5, only $429 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase the XT4 or XT5 and enjoy 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. For a limited time, get $16,000 off all in-stock Cadillac 2019 XT5 crossovers and $19,000 off all in-stock 2019 CT6 sedans. Or experience the first ever 2020 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, only $519 with $1 down for 39 months lease. Or purchase and receive 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we are back with Kim Davis. We were just picking up. We'll pick up right where we left off right there, Kim. And you were talking about the administration.
Yes, not doing a good job. Yeah, I just, you asked about unemployment, and I just said that is the problem with this current administration not having a plan to deal with this COVID issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it has really impacted people's lives all across the board.
Right.
Their life, right? So people losing their lives,
Yes.
but also people's livelihoods, their homes, their businesses. These are some times that are really, we've never seen before. Like
Right.
in my lifetime, we've
Right.
just never seen it before. And the number of people who are losing their lives is more than we've seen in many of the wars that this country has fought in.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it in those terms, you're like, wow. And
Yeah.
there's no end in sight, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
under this current administration, because they are right now in the middle of having an in-person convention. Some of it's virtual, but people are there. They're not practicing social distancing. They're not
Right.
wearing masks. And I'm like, really?
Yes. They don't care. They care less.
They don't care.
They could care
Yeah.
less. I mean, that's just what it is. I love the fact that you have not stopped, lady. Even during COVID, you haven't stopped. The people that are 40 million plus that now have to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Let's talk to them because you have done some things. Let's talk about first all the things you have that you're doing and then talk to them.
So I am a serial entrepreneur, right? I was that prior to COVID. And
Right.
so, I have two businesses, and my main primary business, the KD company, has two sides to it.
Yes.
I have the side that I call my creative side, which is where I produce the show Chalk Talk. I'm a speaker, so I
Yes.
just have speaking engagements. And I'm writing and working on a couple projects. I really want to move into documentary work. But on the other side of it, I do consulting. I do media coaching and training. I do communication strategy. That's always been a part of my work.
Right.
And then I have a company called Kimmy Treats, and
Yes.
it's a passion business. I love to cook, and I do primarily popcorn. It is a vegan, non-GMO popcorn, and I also make a body butter. And so I started making the popcorn for me because I love popcorn, but most of the popcorn we buy has a lot of junk in it. It's not very clean. So I started making it for myself. And I have a friend who owns a vegetarian deli who was carrying some of my other treats and said, hey, can I sell the popcorn here? And so I really focus more on the popcorn because you can ship it places. It's easy to, it has some shelf life to it. It's easier to move around.
Yeah.
And so now, since the pandemic started, I actually put it online. And so I'm one of those businesses. I ship my popcorn.
Right.
So I need the U.S. Postal Service to not be hamper because
Yes.
that impacts my treats business.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. And I'm glad you mentioned e-commerce because of the fact that many brick and mortars are closing. They're having to close.
Yeah.
People are not going in because of the pandemic. You know, they're scared to leave the house and they're going online to purchase. So it has, I mean, you see Amazon
Right.
just boomed.
Right.
It's
Amazon
already
is booming.
booming.
It already was.
Yes.
But yeah, so e-commerce. And so what I would say is find something that you can do, either a service you can provide,
Right.
something that you enjoy. Find a different way of doing it. You know, I
Mhm.
know a lot of people that are in the food business. It's difficult because it's like, oh, I'm a caterer. Now people aren't having events. Well, maybe partner with virtual. There are companies that do virtual events. Partner with some of those companies, right?
Right.
And try to. They want to also have at these virtual events. They want to provide food or whatever for the people who are attending.
Mhm.
Partner with companies and see how you can collaborate. You know,
Right.
I think it's collaboration is going to be key right now.
Mhm.
And if you're a college graduate and you're really good at math or maybe reading is your area, look at doing some tutoring because these kids need some help. The
Mhm.
parents can't do it all. Like they
Right.
can't do homeschool and then try to work. And so just look at where there's a need and see what you can do. But we've got to find ways to continue to create revenue for ourselves. We just can't
Absolutely.
give up. We have to continue to push.
Yes, absolutely. Because it looks like with this pandemic and how it's going, and just like you said, people not masking up, people that are, it's not being forced, because people are saying, hey, it's my right. I don't have to do it.
Right. Well, I've been doing my show virtually for about 5 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Yeah.
now everybody's virtual, right? So it's
Right.
made it a whole lot more normal.
Yes.
But I also have started working on some programs so I can help teach people how to work in the virtual space. It's not enough just to get on Zoom or
Right.
Teams or whatever your platform is. And so that's something else people could do is learn how to navigate these spaces. Cam, I sit on the board of the Convention Bureau on the executive committee, and I
Mm-hmm.
had a meeting with the general manager of the Four Seasons about a month ago, and he said that in the hospitality industry, in the hotel industry, they don't expect for things to really come back completely until 2024. Okay.
Wow.
And even then, they don't know if they will have recovered completely from what 2020 the hand that it has been
Right.
dealt. So what that says is, while we're hopeful that things will start to ramp up, right?
Mm-hmm.
The process to recover is going to be lengthy. And
Yes.
so they are planning for that and trying to see how do we navigate this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to be thinking about that as well. It's
Right.
not about being doom and gloom, but it's about being realistic and
Mm-hmm.
find ways that we can, have some relevance and create some opportunities for ourselves.
Absolutely. Especially with this time, we have time now. Many times we used to
Right.
say, "Oh, we're too busy. We're running here, we're running there, we're in traffic, we're driving everywhere." But now we have the
Yeah.
time.
I have taken the time, especially initially when we couldn't go anyplace.
Right.
I've taken some other classes and training to shore up some skills, and some of the organizations I belong to have offered some free virtual stuff, and I've taken as much of it as I can. I'm
Yes.
actually enrolled in a program that has to do with the food business. They were
Mm-hmm.
taking 10 people, and I'm like, okay, I've got to find a way to make time for this so I can learn more about this food business so that I can
Right.
see what I can do to scale my popcorn business. My
Right.
goal is to scale it, have somebody else make it, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately to sell it and be a shareholder. I mean, that's the
Mm-hmm.
long-term goal.
Right.
But how do you get there? Well, I'm
Right.
going to take a class to find out. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of classes that you can take now that are, if not free, they're really, really affordable.
Yes.
But get better skills,
Yes.
learn something that you don't already know,
Right.
and make a place for yourself.
And take this time. I love what you're saying about that because take this time. This is our time. It's really a true opportunity.
It is, and it's not one we would have asked for,
Mm-hmm.
but and if you say, "Oh man, I've wasted all this time," don't worry about that. Start
Right.
right now. Start where you are
Yeah.
and do something,
Do
right?
something. Yeah.
Whether it's a book, it's a blog, I'm going to learn to do this thing. I mean, whatever it is, just do it and just start where you are. You haven't missed anything. Don't beat yourself up about what you
Right.
haven't done. This has been a lot for people to deal with and manage. Emotionally, it's been taxing. Physically, for some who've had to fight the virus, it's been taxing. Be gentle with yourself and just start where you are.
I love that. Any last words? Just talking. We've got time.
Yeah, I first thank you. I'm always grateful when people share their platforms with me. So thanks for
Aw.
having me on your show. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And, and hopefully people have gotten something, my journey has been interesting,
Yes.
and I've worked around the country, mostly in television and radio, but I also have worked in print. And I was also vice president of the Super Bowl when it was in Houston in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So, just trying to grow from those different experiences I've had to create a place for myself. And I think that's what we just have to all do.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different experiences. Your experiences are good for you, and you can take those and do something with it. And I just encourage people to do the same. Um, don't buy into the doom and gloom. Just get quiet. For me, I talk to God, but figure out, okay, what is it that I should be doing? What can I do? And find the opportunity and sit.
I love that. And I love the fact you always say educate yourself, especially with this administration. We have got to educate ourselves, like you said, on voting. I mean, that
Yeah.
is so serious. That's like just living.
It's at the heart of everything.
Yes.
Be educated, get the information, and get it for yourself.
Yes.
So that when I'm talking to you, but when I talk to people on my show, like when you talk to people on your show,
Yes.
I'm sharing what I've researched and what I've learned, but I'm
Right.
encouraging them to find out for themselves.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
don't just take it from me.
Right.
Get the information. And if you need help finding it, let me know and I'll help you find it.
Absolutely.
But be informed and be educated, because that's where the real power comes.
Yes.
And that's the thing that no one can take away from you, is
Right.
what you've learned and what you've taught yourself, and what you continue to learn. It's an ongoing process. I think if I ever stop learning, I'll be at my day's end.
Yes.
The end of my days.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone just to contact you. Let's do your platforms on contact and where to see your talk.
So my show is live on Facebook and on
Yes.
YouTube
Yes.
every Tuesday at 11. And you can reach me on Twitter at Kim Y. Davis. You can reach me on Instagram at kim.y.davis, and then Kim Davis, of course, on Facebook. And if you want to reach out to me, you can inbox me there, but my website's really easy. It's kimydavis.com. So you can email me at kim@kimydavis.com. My website's being redone right now, but you can still reach me. You can email me and you can still find me there. So I'm pretty easy to find. My name's pretty common, which is why I had to use my middle initial. I had to use that Y.
I know. I love you, lady. I so appreciate everything you've done. When I called you, she said immediately yes.
Why, thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, my
I
God.
appreciate you having me. Continue success with your show, and
Thank you.
congratulations for the work
Thank
you're
you
doing.
so much. I appreciate you so much. I'm telling you, if you didn't learn today, I don't know. We talked about a vast amount of things on today, and thank you, lady, for everything. Bless God, bless you, peace and everything. Love you.
All right,
Take
thanks,
care.
Cam. Love you too. All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Hey guys, on tomorrow, let me tell you, you've got to see this. We have Wednesday, we've got Thursday, and we've got Friday. Take a look. Bye.